Thank you very much. Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Professor Meloni, for your kind invitation. It is a pleasure to be here and to meet these very distinguished participants and panelists. I would like to say, I think I am maybe the only one in the room, or almost, that I am not an expert on religious studies. Okay, good, I'm not the only one, thank you. So I will give you a few insights from science in general, from research studies in general, based on the experience of Science Europe members, the national funding and performing organizations of Europe. So we do a lot of work in different aspects of research policy in Europe and globally, and some of it relates to science diplomacy. But science diplomacy, we need to be a little bit careful, because when you talk about this to representatives of governments, they say, well, we do science diplomacy. What do you want to do? And there are different aspects in science diplomacy. One is the diplomatic efforts that, on behalf of the governments, delegates do. And another type of science diplomacy is what organizations like ours, stakeholder organizations, supranational organizations like OECD, United Nations, the UNESCO, etc., can do also from their ends to meet the perhaps goals of a higher end than just national agendas. There's where we go for peace, there's where we go for tolerance, etc. And all these organizations, based on the approaches, the academic approaches, can generate enough knowledge to provide to others, to provide to the states, to provide to other supranational organizations, to generate frameworks in which the exchanges that science requires are possible. No, science, we all know, it can only progress through exchange, through mobility. If we start quarreling all against all of us in the science, we'll just stuck. We can't do anything. So what I wanted to bring to you is a few elements to open up and to work better for peace. As many of you may know, recently, at least in Europe, the dialogue on dual-use research is escalating. That means research for military purposes. Well, I don't know. I'm no specialist in war, I'm either, but I do know, and we come in Europe from a period of peace, after many years of also quarreling between us, centuries. We need to maybe invest in dual-use research. I don't have a position yet on that, but above all, we need to invest in peace research, because peace research is a sustainable action. Dual use is not a sustainable action, because it is about how to kill each other in a more sophisticated way. So we need to be careful when we talk about dual use research, research for military purposes, and not give enough balance to peace research. I would say also that, for example, research organizations in different degrees of aggregation, like yours, can do to put at the service of these high goals. And one of them is precisely, you already pointed out that, Professor Meloni, better linkages between the policy world and with the political world. This has to be strengthened mandatorily. We in Europe have managed to be in a relatively good shape over the years. For example, when we think about policies on gender balance, open science, etc., we have achieved progress because the stakeholders have been pushing for those policies to move forward, and the member states have been on the level that they could provide that support. It's not perfect, but we are making progress. And I think that if we can then enlarge our way to collaborate more and better between science and policy and politics. You all are aware of the Sustainable Development Goals. And you all are aware how far we are from meeting them. That requires a level of aggregation even higher in terms of funding and in terms of performing research. Other policies as well, but I'm concentrating on the research area. So equitable access to open science is a must. To reform the research assessment is a must. Several speakers this morning at the PhD Day already said so. Why they don't include, for example, more data sets as an element of that is a recognized achievement in religious studies. I referred already to the connection between the public policy and the stakeholder sector. Important as well, science communication or research communication, call it as you want. We recently had a big gathering in Brussels to discuss science communication at a higher level than we have not done before. So member states of Europe came together to discuss science communication issues. One main conclusion of that big conference held until the Belgian presidency of the Council of the EU was that science communication comes too late in the communication process in the research value chain. It is conceived only when someone has a very nice finding to then promote it more or less widely. But in fact, the tendency, we should reverse that tendency and put science communication right at the outset of the definition of the calls, so that science communication engages into the whole process of research conception and production, therefore also and engaging more the public. I know you said in, not only you, sorry, Professor Meloni, the panelists, no, said about your own challenges in religious studies, but I think that, again, same as for any other fields in science, if you get better in communication, you will also engage more those that either are those with your religion, in a very broad terms of the religion, or those who are just want to know more about those religions, which is equally important as well, and very essential to build tolerance. I referred to science for policy, and when we talk about science for policy, we need to be aware as well that all disciplines are included in this science for policy in a much more holistic way than ever before. Elisabetta referred to energy and religion, and I found that a very good link that could perhaps be strengthened. Religion, social, sustainable development goals, etc. Energy is something that we need everywhere, anytime, all of us. So it is a good vector for social cohesion if it is managed properly. For that, I think that the elements that characterize scholarly activity, the rigorosity in the approaches, analytical, information searching and condensation are essential to facilitate all these processes. So all this is necessary for the purposes of a better society, but we need to define the right processes. Not all processes are valid. We need to define the ones that take as a basis dialogue, communication, engagement. And that is far more easier said than done. And that's why I think the scholarly community has a mission there. So I think I would stop here because I think I delivered my message. Thank you.